So hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to discuss a design pattern called Strangler Fig pattern. So this design pattern helps in migrating monolithic applications to microservice architecture. But first, let's see what are monoliths and what is the problem with them. Right. So the monoliths are a single-tiered application in which the user interface, the business logic, and data are combined into a single program from a single platform. These monolithic applications are self-contained and independent from other computing applications. The design philosophy behind these applications is that the application is responsible not just for a particular task but can perform every step needed to complete a particular function. So this diagram shows a simple monolithic application in which all code base is packaged in a single process and all data in a single database. For example, consider a monolithic e-commerce application. It might contain a web server, a catalog service, an ordering system, a payment function, and a shipping system. Now you can imagine this type of application will have a huge code base, making even the smallest change in a single function can require compiling and testing entire platform, which is a very tedious task, and taking this small change to production is also very tedious. Right. So what is the solution? The obvious solution comes out to be microservice architecture. In contrast to monolithic approach, a microservice architecture involves smaller applications deployed independently as loosely coupled services tied together with application integration. With microservices application, the business logic may encompass multiple platforms, including software as a service, on-prem database, in-house application that meets the need. So from a software engineering perspective, microservices are simpler to develop. They are much smaller in scope and therefore smaller in size, which makes it easier to improve them through continuous integration and continuous delivery. Also, the programming language can also be different from application to application. Okay. So now the objective is clear. We want to migrate our application from monolithic architecture to microservices architecture. But moving to microservices is not like flicking a switch that can be done instantly. This process needs to be slow and well planned. But why do we need a pattern? Right, so internally the monolithic applications can be very different, so we need a way to standardize this move to microservices. Here the strangler fig design pattern comes in handy. Right, so the strangler fig pattern is a common name for a number of tropical plants. They all share a common strangling growth habit. These plants grow on top of other big trees and they suck up the nutrients from the host and keep growing over them, causing them to die eventually. Martin Fowler introduced the Strangler Fig pattern as an incremental approach to replacing old monolithic computer systems way back in 2004, prompting the IT industry to rethink how they might move to a brand new system from the old. Fowler came across the idea when he saw these Strangler Fig plants while on a trip to Australia. He imagined this can be a great metaphor replacing a big old system with a new one. At that time, he had been thinking about the risks that come with the big final cutover to the new system, but these plans inspired a new option. He thought an alternative route is to gradually create a new system around the edges of the old, letting it grow slowly over several months and years until the old system is strangled. So, the basic idea is to build an application piece by piece in parallel with the old one. By the when the new application functionally replaces the old, then the legacy application is effectively dropped. There is one prerequisite to this approach, that the monolithic application should be modular, which means that the code base should be divided into modules. The code base and data is still monolithic, but there should be boundaries between the different functionalities of the monolithic application, which makes it easier to break into microservices. So if your monolithic application is not modular, you want to move towards microservices, the first step would be to move your monolith application to a modular monolithic application. This means defining module boundaries. So set your module boundaries where you think the microservices boundaries would be, and also isolate the data. Okay, so when we want to move to modular monolithic application, we need to decide how do we split modules. So for this, we have something called a scale cube, right? So for the scale cube, there are three axes, right? The x-axis, y, and z. These three axes represent the type of scaling that can be done on an app, like scaling by cloning, scaling by splitting similar things, and then scale by splitting different things. For our scenario, we should consider the y-axis, which is scale by splitting different things, where we would try to split monolith into different functionalities. Now, once the monolith has different modules, we can start moving to microservices. Now, following the design pattern, we will start moving functionality from monolith to microservices one module at a time. Let's take a case study, right? So we can see, right? My model monolithic application has 5 modules. I start removing one module at a time and start creating a new microservice out of it. So as time goes on, more and more microservices are created, and the modules of monolithic application do not serve any purpose. So this is how we move from monolithic application to microservices, following the design pattern, that is Strangler Fig pattern. Okay. Thank you everyone. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe.